Father, there's a gentleman to see you, a Mr. Harrison.
Harrison. Oh, yes. Father O'Malley's going to marry the Harrison girl next week. Probably her father.
Father.
Yes?
I'd like to speak to you about the owls.
The owls?
The owls.
Not again.
Father, I haven't slept a wink in 2 weeks.
We've already had 2 different men on the roof, and they haven't been able to find a thing. No nest, nothing.
I suppose you'll be telling me it's a figment of my imagination?
Mrs. Featherston, in this great city of New York, I'm afraid owls are as rare as saints.
Father, it's a terrible thing to go without sleep over something that isn't there.
Well, I'll look into it again.
Thank you, Father.
It's a great pleasure meeting you, Father. I'm so happy you'll be marrying my daughter.
Oh, but Mr. Harrison, Father O'Malley will be performing the ceremony. Haven't you met Father O'Malley?
No. You see, I've been out of town. My wife's been handling the details.
Oh, well, Father O'Malley's out on a call, but he should be back any moment.
Well, that's all right. Father, I'm not a member of the church, so I don't know the protocol. But I would like to make a gift.
But, Mr. Harrison, it's usually customary after the ceremony.
I've heard you're having a building fund drive. Perhaps you could use this.
Oh, well, every little bit helps, as they say. $25,000?
What sort of man is this, Mr. Harrison?
Handsome man. Looks you straight in the eye, too, when he talks to you. I tell you, if you're any judge of character, my boy, you can tell a whole lot about a man from his looks.
And Mr. Harold Harrison passed the test, huh?
With flying colors. And a certified check.
Oh, that's funny.
What's funny?
Oh, nothing, except that as many times as I've talked to the wife and daughter, they never mentioned the father.
He travels. And undoubtedly, he's one of these people who like to remain in the background. A good man who prefers to hide his light under a bushel.
As a matter of fact, they said a friend of the family was giving the bride away.
Oh? Well, that is funny. Ah, Mr. Harrison. Father O'Malley and I were just talking about your generous gift. What's that? Press release? No, I see nothing wrong with it. Pictures? Which paper? All of them? Yes, I'm still here. Oh, that'll be fine. Goodbye, Mr. Harrison. And thank you for calling.
It sounds as if Mr. Harrison has decided to have a coming-out party for a certified check.
He wants his press agent to release the story to tie in with his foundation. He'd like a picture of himself handing me the check.
What foundation?
The Harold Harrison Foundation.
That's a new one on me.
You say the mother and daughter never mentioned him?
Perhaps, as you say, he wants to hide his light under a bushel.
Still, I never heard of a family who hid a father under a bushel. Not without good reason.
Well, Father, the check is good.
Yes. And there's always a reason for everything.
Yes, for most everything. Well, I'll see you, Father.
Where are you off to now, my boy?
Over to the community center. You know Ken Hamlin, don't you?
Hamlin? Manages one of Bill Fleming's jewelry stores. Oh, yes, I know him. He's a good man. And generous, too. Always donates trophies for the sporting events at the school.
Yes, well, I'm afraid Ken Hamlin looked on generosity as a two-way street.
What do you mean?
Well, he came to see Tom. His accounts at the store are over $1,000 short. I told Tom I'd try to help.
Ken Hamlin took $1,000? Yep. I can't believe it. Why, she's the last person in the world I'd say would do such a thing.
I know, Father. But so often it's the last person in the world who does something like this.
I know. Well, do what you can for the poor man. And if you need me, I'm an old friend of Bill Fleming's.
Yes, Father.
Oh, and Father, I don't think we should mention our new gift to the Chancery office until the whole building drive is over the top, if you know what I mean.
I'll be as quiet as a church mouse.
Why, Ken, why?
But why, Ken? Why?
Oh, I don't know, Tom. I've been getting away with it off and on for years.
Did you think you'd get away with it forever?
I never thought about it. I took what I needed from time to time and put it back out of my commissions. When business got bad and I got caught off base.
Over $1,000 off base. That's a lot of money, Ken.
You have any of it left to pay back?
Not a red cent. It all went on little things, you know, hi-fi set, payments on the car, something for the kids. Guess I'm one of those guys that never learned to say no, to his family or himself. I never realized it, but I'm just a crook. A small-time crook. The kind I used to laugh at when I'd read it in the paper. A cheap little crook who tapped the till.
Look, Ken, let's let that go for now. The point is, what can we do to help? Is Bill Fleming pressing charges?
No, I said he'd hold off for a while. Like till tomorrow.
Well, Father O'Malley and I'll do everything we can. We'll be in touch.
Thanks, Tom. Father. Oh, and thanks for not reading me a lecture.
Well, I didn't have to do that, Ken. You gave yourself a pretty good one.
Now, Chuck, we've got to do something for him. Now, Ken gives an awful lot to the community center. I don't mean money. I mean time, part of himself. Hate to see a man like that go down the drain because of something like this. How about to see Bill Fleming?
Well, Tom, if it'll be of any help, Father Fitzgibbon knows Mr. Fleming. Oh, he's a hard-nosed businessman, but he's fair. Anyway, tell Fleming that we think Ken deserves another chance.
Right.
Oh, Tom, you've been around here longer than I have. Have you ever heard of Harold Harrison?
Harry the horse.
A horse? A bookie?
Yeah, amongst other things. You name it, Harry's been in it. Illegal liquor, the numbers racket, a fixer. He's had his fingers in every pie.
Have they ever been burnt?
A little around the edges. He's done time. In short sentences, they've never been able to make anything big stick. Oh, Harry's no fool. He pays his taxes. He's got the best lawyers money can buy.
A big-time operator, huh?
Oh, you know it. Have you ever heard of the Harold Harrison Foundation?
It has a familiar ring.
That is his. He gets all the charities. Some of them take it, some don't. He's really out to buy himself a good name. You know, he hit Dr. Frank Thornton.
Oh?
Wanted to make a great big donation. The way I hear it, though, he wanted to change the name of the church from Holy Shepherd to St. Harry the Horse. Come on, you're not laughing, Chuck.
When are you planning on seeing Bill Fleming?
Today.
Well, let me know how it comes out, huh?
I'll drop by.
Fine. See you, Tom.
Hi, Chuck. You're hiding something from me.
Yes? Yes, I am.
Yes, indeed, Monsignor Wells. $25,000. Certified check. Father O'Malley is marrying the daughter this Saturday. Oh, yes, I'll write to the bishop and give him the details. All right, thank you. Goodbye, Monsignor. Goodbye. Come in.
Father?
I'm glad you're back, my boy. I was just telling Monsignor Wells about her good fortune. Well, now, Chuck, he dragged it out of me. He could be a very persistent man, you know.
Yes, I know.
He wants me to write to the bishop and give him the details.
Well, you haven't written yet.
Not yet. I was waiting for you. You have a grand way with words. Why don't you sit down now while I dictate?
Father,
What?
Harold Harrison is really Harry the horse.
The horse?
Mm-hmm.
Is that so? One of the four horsemen. I thought he looked familiar. Let's see, there was Elmer Layden,
No, Father. He's not a football player, a bookmaker.
publisher,
No. Harrison is up to his ears in the numbers racket.
numbers, gambling.
Harold Harrison, alias Harry the horse, is a gambler, a bookie, and, well, just about everything else.
He's
He's a crook.
But the check is good.
That may be so, but the money isn't. It's illegal. Or the great part of it. The source is.
Who says all this?
Apparently, it's no great secret.
Except to us.
If you like, Father, I'll be glad to take the check back to Harrison and explain our position.
Thank you, my boy. I'll call Monsignor Wells and tell him the bad news. I'd like to get this out of sight as soon as possible. I didn't think $25,000 could have such an empty ring to it. Hello? Yes? This is Father Fitzgibbon. Oh, no. It's Monsignor Wells. The bishop is calling to congratulate me.
Floor, please.
The penthouse, I think. Mr. Harrison.
Yes, Father. Swell day, huh, Father?
Well. Do you happen to know if Mr. Harrison's in?
Oh, he's always into you fellows. You ought to see all the clergymen coming and going. Oh, man.
I can imagine.
They don't make them any better, Father. And generous, too. Especially at Christmas.
What was that?
It always happens at the 15th floor. Like breaking a sound barrier. Right through that door, Father.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes. Come in, come in.
Thank you. I'm Father O'Malley, Father Fitzgibbon's assistant at St. Dominic's.
Well, I'm happy to know you, Father. Can I take your hat and coat?
Oh, thank you. This is quite a place you have here.
Oh, a little touch of suburbia in the sky. Can I get you something, Father? You know, to fight off the cold weather.
No, thank you.
Did you drop up to look over the press release?
I'm afraid there isn't going to be a press release.
I see. May I ask why?
I think you know the answer to that.
You know, Father, when I opened that door, I didn't peg you as the sanctimonious sort. But I suppose you're acting under orders from the old gentleman.
Mr. Harrison, we take orders from our superiors and our conscience.
You didn't come here to preach a sermon.
No. I just came to give back the check.
Now, Father, it's all from real estate investments.
Where did the money to invest in real estate come from?
Does it make that much difference?
It makes that much difference, yes.
How easily you turn your back on $25,000. No hesitation, no doubt. Just a pillar of strength, huh?
What do you want, Mr. Harrison? Me to have a breakdown?
Hold it, Father. Hold it. Father, I'm sorry if we got off on the wrong foot, but it was very important to me that St. Dominic's accept my donation.
You mind my asking why?
2 reasons. The first, a very simple one, I think. I want a good name.
This Harold Harrison Foundation. Is that your way of buying a good name?
If you want to put it that way, okay. Look, Father, we all have to wear a sign. How could you tell a general if he didn't wear stars? Or a priest if he didn't wear the collar?
It isn't the stars that make a man a general, or the collar that makes a man a priest. Well, what's the second reason?
My wife walked out on me 14 years ago. I haven't seen her or my daughter since. I want them back.
You think by your donation to St. Dominic's you can bring your wife and daughter around to accepting you again?
I'm a sentimentalist, Father. I want my wife's love. I want my daughter's love. I want her respect.
You can't buy love any more than you can buy a good name.
Don't be naive, Father. This whole country was built on blood. Ask the Indians. Remember the robber barons? The malefactors of great wealth? There's very little difference between me and some of the famous names of our country. I just got a lot of bad publicity.
You're kidding yourself, Mr. Harrison.
I make it a practice never to kid myself. I wish you could see some of the people I know, my friends, famous people, celebrities. They come to my parties, treat me like royalty.
What do they say when they leave?
I couldn't care less. I'm only interested in how they treat me to my face. Sit down, Father. The only people I care for, my wife and my daughter, won't have a thing to do with me.
I'd say you gave them good reason.
Father, I've been away from the rackets for years. But how would they know? They return every letter and check I send. Perhaps you'd speak to them.
Well, I could, but I don't guarantee results.
I'd give anything to go to my daughter's wedding. Doesn't that prove I have a heart of gold?
I wish I could say it does, but... Mr. Harrison, you say you've changed. How changed are you?
In my own way, Father, I actually am trying. You really won't take the check?
No, we won't take the check.
But you will see my wife and daughter. That means more to me.
I know. Yes, I'll see them.
Father, did you know that I had a son?
No.
He died in Korea.
I'm sorry.
A hero. Congressional Medal of Honor. They have a park named after him in Cleveland. Harrison Memorial Park. They brought him back. It's a big state funeral. I was getting dressed for the funeral. This character from Washington. A dark suit, narrow hat, narrow tie, tight little mouth, came to see me. He made his point in a tight little speech. Because of the bad publicity, they felt it would be better if Harry the horse stayed away from his son's funeral. They named a park after my son. I gave him his name. But I couldn't go to his funeral.
You don't want to be passed up again. Is that it?
No. I want to go to my daughter's wedding. And I want my wife and my daughter to come to my funeral. After you're gone, Father, someone's got to care. You know, Someone's got to shed the tears for you. You can't buy that. I'm finding out the hard way, I guess.
I don't mind telling you, though, it's taken quite a load off my mind. The bishop and I were in complete agreement. No gifts with strings. It's uncanny the way the bishop and I are in agreement on major issues.
Yes, I've noticed that.
Are you going to see Mrs. Harrison and the daughter today?
Yes, I am, Father, right after breakfast.
Well, if there's any chance of reconciliation, I know you can do it, my boy. Didn't you say he'd left the figures game?
The numbers game. Yes, Father.
Preserve us. An earthquake.
In New York?
Mrs. Patterson! Mrs. Patterson! Are you all right?
I'm shaking up the owl.
You're also shaking the very foundations of the church. Will you please stop it? She still insists there are owls on the roof.
Well, I thought we had the roofing people check that out.
They did, and found nothing. But that doesn't seem to faze her. Do you ever hear owls, Father?
No, I can't say that I do.
I suppose she deserves our sympathy, poor woman. Imagination can play cruel tricks on you.
Oh, hiya, Tom.
Good morning, Chuck. Good morning, Father Fitzgibbon.
Hello, my boy.
I just dropped by to tell you about my meeting with Bill Fleming. You know, about Ken Hamlin.
Yeah?
Well, mentioning your name didn't hurt any, Father.
Then it's all straightened out about poor Mr. Hamlin.
Well, not quite, Father. Bill said he wouldn't press charges if Ken would return the $1,000.
Oh, any chance of him working it off?
It's funny, when I asked Bill that question, he said, don't press your luck, so I took my gains and left.
Well, you can't blame Bill. He's got his own people to answer to.
If one gets away with it, they all do.
Exactly Bill's words.
But I think Ken Hamlin is a little different case. I speak to Bill Fleming personally.
Well, thank you, Father. Well, see, you're going out. Can I give you a lift, Chuck?
Sure, fine. Goodbye, Father.
Bye, Father Fitzgibbon.
Goodbye now. Owls.
Would you like me to drop you?
61st and Lexington. Is that out of your way?
Well, slightly, about 2 miles.
Say, couldn't Ken borrow the money from somebody?
That's the trouble. His credit's no good, Chuck. His relatives. Well, he was helping them. Now, naturally, they wouldn't think of helping him.
Yeah. Still, there ought to be somebody to give him a hand.
I was thinking there used to be a guy. Mr. Second Chance.
Mr. Second Chance? You kidding?
No? You know how clowns and hoods are. They got a nickname for everybody. I think they got it from Damon Runyon. Or maybe he got it from them.
This Second Chance character, he used to help guys like Ken?
Yeah. I guess he understood them. He was an ex-con himself who made good. He used to give or loan people money when they got in jams. Unfortunately, he died a couple years back.
No one to take his place, huh?
Didn't want to take over a part like that. And he left a big gap. Chuck, there must be a lot of people like Ken. They're basically good people who just need a second chance.
I know. I'm going to try and help one right now.
Anybody I know?
No. Just a guy who's very poor.
Well, Father O'Malley, come in. Come in.
Thank you.
Well, this is a pleasant surprise. Please sit down. That is, if you can find a place to sit. I'm afraid it's been pretty hectic around here lately.
You seem to be holding up under it pretty well.
Oh, I'm exhausted, Father, but I love it. Can I bring you something? Coffee? Tea?
No, thank you.
Well, Marilyn just stepped out for a minute. Is it about the wedding?
Not exactly. I've been to see your husband.
My husband? Harold?
Yes.
Oh,
He asked about you and Marilyn.
he sent you to see us?
Yes, he did.
Father, nothing you can say will make me see that man again.
Why, Mrs. Harrison?
May I ask you a question?
Of course.
How did you meet Harold? Did he come to you?
Yes, he wanted to make a donation, a rather large one, to the church. He hoped that it would show you, indirectly, that he changed.
How like Harold? The big deal.
Well, I believe he is trying to change. Maybe not in the right way yet, but
Men like Harold never change.
never's a short word for such a long time.
Believe me, Father. I know what I'm talking about. I've been through all this before.
Well, did you know that he's left the rackets?
Did you know he left the rackets before? He always returns. Sorry, Father, if I seem to show so little sympathy for Harold. I wonder if you could understand what it's like to live in the shadows. A life filled with police, reporters, dreading the phone because it might be a call from the morgue, having to take your children out of this school or that school because their father's picture was in the paper, holding his hat over his face.
Mrs. Harrison, I know how hard it must have been on you and your children, but, well, he is Marilyn's father. If it were possible for him to attend the wedding without...
No, Father.
He didn't let me finish.
I'm sorry.
Without any publicity.
It's out of the question, Father. Marilyn's marriage it's everything I've hoped for. She's marrying a fine boy, a respectable boy. She won't have to carry the name Harry the Horse through life like an anchor. What would the boy think? What would his parents think?
Is that so very important?
Yes, it is. Why should we spoil it in any way? I put that man out of my life 14 years ago, and I want him to stay out of my life and my daughter's.
Mrs. Harrison, he was very hurt not being allowed to attend his son's funeral. He's a human being. Can we hurt him again?
Do you know who kept him away from his son's funeral?
The State Department. The Army.
I did. Yes, I did. I told them I wouldn't be there if he came. Are you surprised?
Surprised, yes, and disappointed.
Father, my son was a fine boy. After he was turned down by the military academy, and don't tell me it wasn't because of his father's reputation. He enlisted, he worked his way up. Can you imagine the field day the papers would have had if they'd found out who his father was? That man ruined my life, but he wasn't going to tarnish my son's memory. And he's not going to jeopardize my daughter's happiness in any way.
Mrs. Harrison, you knew what your husband was before you married him, before you had children by him.
In a way, I suppose. I was singing in a nightclub when I met him, a club he owned, or part-owned. I thought he was something special. Later on, I found out what he was really like underneath that charming smile and those $250 suits.
You took him for better or worse.
Call me a poor Christian or a bad Catholic, Father, but I will not see that man ever.
And Marilyn, does she feel the same way?
Ask her, Father.
Hi, Mom.
Hello, dear.
Father. Ask me what?
Father O'Malley has seen your father.
He'd like to come to your wedding. He'd like to talk to you.
I'm sorry, Father, but I've seen what he's done to my mother. I know what he is.
He's still your father.
Oh, yes. So I owe him a great debt. Is he out of jail, or does he want me to have a prison wedding?
Whatever your father's done, he doesn't deserve that.
What does he deserve, Father? Another chance to hurt my mother? To hurt me? The boy I'm going to marry? Just what does he deserve?
Help. He's a human being, and he suffers because he loves you and needs you.
You left something out, Father. He's also a changed man.
You don't think a man can change, huh?
Father, do you truly believe that people like my father, like Harry the Horse, really change?
Let's say they don't change easily. That's why I've come to you, his wife and his daughter. Because Harold Harrison is trying. And if he doesn't make it, we're all responsible.
That must be Tony.
Well, I guess I better be going. Will I see you tomorrow at the rectory?
Why, Father?
Oh, you know, flowers, last-minute arrangements. Your mother will be working, so I thought you could handle that.
Of course. 11 o'clock?
Fine. Goodbye, Mrs. Harrison, Marilyn. You will think over what I said?
There's not much to think over, Father, just a great deal to forget. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, Father O'Malley.
Oh, hello, Tony. How are you?
I'm shaking like a leaf. Tell me confidentially, Father, is Marilyn at all nervous, or is it just me?
Well, it's usually 50-50.
I think I'm one lucky guy. Marilyn's a real great girl. Right, Father?
Yes, she is.
My folks are just crazy about her. You gotta hand it to her mother, especially when you know about the father.
Oh? What about the father?
Oh, didn't you know? He died when she was just a baby.
It's nice of you to see me, Mr. Fleming.
Oh, not at all, Father. Here, sit down.
Thank you.
Now, tell me, what do I owe this pleasure?
I came to see you about Mr. Hamlin. I want you to show a little leniency.
Well, I've already said I wouldn't prosecute. If he returns the money.
Amongst ifs, that now is a mighty big if.
Father, I didn't have him tossed in the clink. Now, many a man in my shoes would have, believe me. Well, just how much further do you expect me to go?
Why not give him a chance to work it off, a little at a time? Give the poor man a chance to get back on his feet.
Father, forgive me, but you're going to have to understand. I am running a business here, not a charity.
Bill, I know Mr. Hamlin regrets what he's done.
Father, if Hamlin returns the money, okay. But if he doesn't, well, there are times when you have to turn your back on a man like this.
The good Lord didn't turn his back on the thief on the cross.
Father, well, now you make me feel like a heel.
Well, now, that was the furthest thought from my mind. I'm just trying to make you feel like a Christian. What was it Mahatma Gandhi said? Why you Christians so unlike your Christ?
Father. All right. All right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will give Hamlin an extension. More time to raise the money.
Good man. How long? 2 months?
No. No, more like 1 week, Father. Let's see, this is Thursday. Hamlin has until next Friday to raise the money. Well, Father, I have a bonding company to answer to. My business. Now, I've gone the limit.
All right, Bill. A week it is.
Fine. No hard feelings, Father, huh?
Oh, no, Bill, no. You've done all you can. I'm sure I appreciate it.
Thank you. And I wouldn't make this concession to anybody else.
You haven't made it to me, Bill. I'm sure you'll be thanked for this. Far better than I can.
Father, forget the week. Make it 10 days.
Thank you, Bill.
Is calling me home. Come in.
Mr. Harrison would like a word with you, Father.
Show him in. Hello.
Hello, Father. I hope I'm not intruding.
Not at all.
I was in the neighborhood and I...
Yes?
No, I really wasn't. I was wondering, have you had a chance to speak to my wife and daughter?
Yes, I'm afraid I struck out.
I see. Tell me, Father, did my name drive her into a frenzy? Did she yell?
No, under the circumstances, she was quite calm.
It's a funny thing. I almost wish she had. The worst thing than being hated is being forgotten. Did you see Marilyn?
Yes?
Tell me about her. How is she? What does she look like?
Well, she's a very beautiful young lady.
I'm not surprised. She was a very beautiful baby. couldn't get through to her either.
No, Mr. Harrison, I couldn't get through to them any more than you could.
They really tuned me out, haven't they, Father? Maybe I should have taken the easy way. Become a Catholic.
Becoming a Catholic is never the easy way, but even if you were sincere, how do you think that would help?
Father, my wife may say she resents me because I'm Harry the horse. But do you know why she turned the kids against me? Why she left me? Why she really resents me?
Why?
Because I'm a Jew.
Because you're... Why, that's absurd. She married you, had 2 children.
Oh, sure, at first she didn't openly resent me. But the friction was there, sparked by her pious old mother. A real, if you'll excuse the expression, Father, a real Mick. She said she'd rather see her daughter in the coffin than married to me.
Tell me, when did you decide to hide behind this theory?
I'm not hiding behind anything. You're not denying that that kind of resentment exists, are you?
Not at all, of course not. But it's about time you found out who you really are. Look, do you follow the Talmud? Do you read the Torah? Observe the holy days? Do you follow the 10 Commandments? When was the last time you went to shul?
Come off it, Father. This is 1962. Who needs folklore?
You come off it, Mr. Harrison. It isn't Judaism or Harold Harrison your wife hates. It's Harry the horse. As long as he exists, you've got no hope.
What are you so hot under the collar about?
Because I respect anyone with a sincere belief. And I resent anyone who turns that belief into a lie, uses it as a cover-up.
Okay. You're the expert. What am I supposed to do now?
Stop playing Harry the horse. Put away your checkbook. Don't expect people to believe you've changed just because you say it often enough and loud enough. Let people decide for themselves whether you're Harry the horse or Harry the hero.
What do you want me to do? Put on sackcloth, tear my hair, rend my garments?
Now, look, Mr. Harrison, don't...
Skip it, Father. I used to get that pitch with $25 in a suit from the warden.
And I'm giving it to you.
And don't you worry about me. They'll be standing in the aisles at my funeral. I may not be loved, but I'll be mourned if I have to fill the funeral parlor with extras from Central Casting.
You're having, Father?
Oh, yes, I'm not very hungry this morning, thanks.
Aren't you feeling well, my boy?
Oh, I've been thinking about Harold Harrison.
Father, other people's trouble should weigh on your mind, not on your stomach.
He's wrong, but in many ways his wife isn't right.
That was a terrible thing they did, seeing the father was dead.
He's all shook up. I don't know what he'll do now.
You think he's all shook up enough to go back to the figures game?
He's been badly hurt. Who knows which way he'll jump.
And yet, for all that, the girl's entitled to her happiness without a cloud hanging over her head.
I guess there aren't any easy answers, are there?
All of the questions are easy.
Sometimes I think it's a disadvantage to see both points of view. Makes it much harder to act.
But much safer when you do.
Tom Caldwell is waiting to see you in the study.
Oh, Tom. So far.
Tom, how are you?
Chuck.
Well, how are we doing with Ken Hamlin?
Not too good, Father. He could only raise about $400.
But he still has a few days. Something may turn up.
I know, Father, but Ken's about ready to give up. I'm on my way over there now.
Look, Tom, do me a favor. Tell Ken not to give up hope.
Okay, Chuck, but it's pretty hard to live on hope.
No, my boy. We must all live on hope. Hope is not some empty dream, but a belief. A belief that good will come.
Well, I just hope it comes for Ken. I'll keep you both posted.
Thanks, Tom. So long.
Come on.
I'm afraid it doesn't look too good for Ken, Father.
No, it doesn't, my boy. I'm sorry to say.
Hello? Yes? Mr. Harrison? Could I see you? Right away? Yes, sure. Yes, right away. Yes. Well, goodbye.
See, my boy, you've hit a spark with Mr. Harrison.
I don't know. You really believe so, Father?
I really hope so, Father.
Father O'Malley, come in. How are you? I'm fine. Just fine. But first, I want to apologize for flying off the handle.
Well, that's okay. I'm sorry I got a little hot under the collar. Well, what can I do for you?
Well, I got thinking about what you said, about really living like I've changed. I sort of felt you had something in mind.
Well, yes, Mr. Harrison, I do.
All right. Let's sit down right over here and you tell me all about it.
All right. Have you ever heard of a man called Mr. Second Chance?
You mean that old fable about the character, the ex-con who used to help people?
Well, it's no fable. There was such a person right here in New York.
Really? I thought that was something the cons made up. You know, to make stealing look easier. Like those things they told the kamikaze pilots, to make dying look easier. Well, what about Mr. Second Chance?
He's dead now. I'd like you to take his place.
That's not like they say, my cup of tea.
I should think it would be just your cup of tea. Maybe by helping others, I mean really helping others, no strings attached, you might be able to help yourself.
Nobody's ever given me a second chance.
Then you, of all people, should know what it means.
How much do you need, Father?
$1,000. This time.
Imagine me, Harry the Horse, as Mr. Second Chance.
Funny thing, the more I think of it, the more I can't imagine anyone else.
Well, I guess that's everything, Father.
Yes?
Oh, the organist for the choir.
Well, our own organist should do okay. I'll take care of that if you like.
Wonderful.
Excuse me. Oh, Father.
I just stopped in to congratulate Marilyn.
Well, thank you, Father. But I didn't think you were supposed to congratulate the bride.
I mean on the wonderful thing your father did. Didn't Father O'Malley tell you?
Well, I hadn't gotten to it yet.
What wonderful thing has my father done?
Marilyn, a friend of ours was in serious trouble, and your father gave the money to help him out of a bind. Keep him out of jail. Give him a second chance. He did it quietly. Nobody knows who he is, especially the man he helped.
I can't believe it. It just doesn't sound like him.
Who is your father, Marilyn? Do you know, really? Do you remember him?
No. Not really. I was only 7 when he left. I remember he was sort of a fat man, and that he always smelled of bay rum. It's funny.
What's funny?
I never thought about it much, but I've always liked men who used bay rum. I gave Tony a bottle on his birthday.
Your father still smells of bay rum, but he's a thin man now. Doctor's orders.
Father, whatever he's done for the man, you can't make up for the past just like that.
No, you can't. But I think it earns him a chance to try. Will you give him that chance for us?
I don't know. I'm confused. How?
By letting him come to your wedding.
Why does he want to go to the wedding so badly?
Because you're his daughter and he loves you. And he wants you to love him. Oh, he knows it won't be easy, but he wants to try. He wants to try very hard.
He's the only father you'll ever have.
Mother would never stand for it. If she ever saw him there, she'd die.
He can be there without her seeing him. Well, Marilyn?
Father, I think it would be best if you asked him for me.
Yes. I'll ask him.
Should I tell Tony? He thinks my father's dead. Should I, Father?
Yes, you should. Don't start your married life with this lie between you. Tony's a fine boy. He'll understand.
Yes. Father, how will I recognize him?
When you come down the aisle, look up at the choir.
Will I know him?
You'll know him. And good luck to both of you. You have a wonderful life ahead of you.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father.
Come in.
Oh, Mr. Harrison is here to see you, Father.
Oh, show him in, please.
Father O'Malley, Father Fitzgibbon, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Fine.
I ducked out after the wedding. It was a wonderful ceremony, just perfect. Thank you very much.
I'm glad it worked out.
Everything going smoothly, is it? You've seen your wife and daughter again?
No, not yet. I don't want to rush my second chance. An old gambler learns never to push his luck. I'll go easy. After all, they have to be as ready for me as I am for them. I'll tell you one thing, though. That smile she gave me was the biggest boost yet.
Oh, before I forget it. Here's a check for $200. Ken says he'll have the rest of it for you soon.
Hang on to it, Father. And if you hear of somebody else who's got himself into a jam, some other character who needs a second chance, give it to him. And look, if it isn't enough, let me know.
Count on it.
Well, I'll be running along. I just wanted to say hello and thanks. Goodbye, Father.
Goodbye.
Father.
Goodbye.
Mrs. Featherston. Mrs. Featherston. Mrs. Featherston.
Yes, Father?
I hear something upstairs. Sounds like owls.
It's Sullivan, Father.
My gosh. I hear them too.